Good morning and welcome back to Almus Market Mornings. The tricky times for policymakers continue. Now we have been in a kind of escalating trade tensions with the US, which is trying to arm twist the country into getting a deal and maybe even pressurize Russia into a concession. We live in a scenario where we are unable to determine tariff rates applicable to us maybe even next week. This kind of uncertainty would also be there in the mind of policymakers like our governor, Mr. Malhotra. The rates were kept unchanged in yesterday's MPC decisions since there has been already substantial cuts and transmission of the CRR cut from previous meeting is still underway. Soon after, India also got an additional 25% tariff on top of its existing 25% tariff for import of Russian oil. Good morning, JK. What are you making out of yesterday's MPC decision and the additional tariffs that have been imposed?
Good morning, Swaraj. I think yesterday in our update, we had shared our view that the rates are likely to be kept unchanged by MPC, and that's what happened. And obviously, the RBI has already front-loaded a lot of easing, monetary easing, and also liquidity easing, and the full impact of those are yet to be transmitted. So that's the background, and also there is a lot of uncertainty about the global influences. So uh, they would probably like to wait for how exactly things turn out in the coming days. Uh, and also there is a fact that US monetary policy is also quite uncertain, although market starts to discount more rate cuts. So all these factors are behind the RBI's decision to keep the rates unchanged and also keep the stance on a neutral basis. They also kept the growth picture unchanged at 6.5, but that's again likely to undergo a revision if the tariffs remain high. The biggest revision was made in the inflation from 3.7 projected for FY26 to 3.1%, and that gives some hopes that possibly they are having headroom for some more rate cut, or at least one rate cut, if the inflation does not reverse sharply on the higher side. But he also mentioned about core inflation remaining at 4.4%, and also the fact that there is a base effect which is helping the inflation to remain low, and the food inflation in India is always a kind of volatile, and festival season ahead of us could actually push the rate size. So I think it's the right stance to take right now, amid all the global uncertainties. And yes, we have had the another 25% tariff on Indian imports from India by Trump, and that is likely to take effect from August 27th. And we also have a US team coming on 25th August for negotiation. The very fact that there is such a long gap, and also there is a negotiation ahead of that, indicates that there is some room for relief and possibly some concessions that US is looking from India and giving time to make that, so that there can be this 50% overall tariff is neither going to help India nor US, and it's going to hurt them also a lot. So I think there will be some some sort of a change definitely from this. On the tariff side, there were more bad news. Trump has said that there will be a very large tariff on chips and semiconductors, and and also on Japan, he has put some 15% additional tariff. Switzerland, which has been imposed with 39% tariff, has really not had any relief, although they went into negotiation. So markets are rather, the scenario is that the tariff bad news is not ending, although the US markets are continuing to be not quite ignorant of these developments, and uh, it's very difficult to see how the investors are seeing no impact on the economy, and they continue to uh, push up stock prices. Uh, in the meantime, monetary policy, September rate cut probability has gone to 92%, and there is one more person who is now talking of a near-term rate cut, that is Neil Kashkari. So we are having now almost five Fed members who are in favor of near-term rate cut, and they're also saying that tariff impact is going to be temporary. There is also an indication that Waller, who has been talking quite dovish on the monetary policy, is one of the candidates running for a replacement for Powell. Although Powell will run in the office until the term ends. On the currencies, of course, the dollar has weakened further, and the weakness is seen more in euro than many other currencies. Chinese one and the yen, for example, have remained almost at the same levels. So it does look like immediate recourse for the investors when they want to diversify is gold and euro, and those two have actually gone up, and euro has already recovered 50% of the fall that it has seen, from more than 50%, in fact, more than 50% of the fall that it has seen in the last 2 weeks. And that really shows that the dollar is inherently not able to sustain its gains. Although technically, I still feel some more consolidation is very much possible. Of course, the market is also waiting for the Bank of India and a rate decision tonight, widely expected to cut by 25 basis points. And Bank of England has been cutting rates. This will be the fifth rate cut, but it is one of the slowest rate cut cycle that the country has seen. They are actually in a bind because the employment situation is worsening, which means there is some support needed for the economy. Even the growth has been on the negative side, but at the same time, inflation is well above their target at 3.7%. So that's the reason why Bank of England is going at its own pace as far as the rate cuts are concerned. They are also beset with what impact ultimately the tariffs will have on the US economy and eventually on the global economy. So dollar broadly remains weak, but mostly concentrated in a few currencies. As far as the rupee is concerned, no impact from MPC's decision to hold the rates. Neither there was any strength. Of course, we did have mild, selling, but that was more on a profit taking. At the same time, the new announcement of additional tariff also did not impact the rupee much. Again, that was probably down to the fact that the implementation is going to be another more than 2 weeks away, and there may be some headroom for the the tariff rates to be revised lower. But it's all up to negotiation, diplomacy from both sides that's going to play a part. In the meantime, oil prices have also come down by more than 1% yesterday. Some investors or speculators are looking at lower oil because of possible sanctions on Russia. Although indications from the official side in US says that the talks between Russia and US officials have been quite positive on achieving a ceasefire. So if it does happen, at least India will have that relief from the additional sanctions due to import of Russian oil. But it's too early to say that, and because these news have been quite volatile. And just to give a perspective, Trump had started with achieving a ceasefire on the first day in office, and now we are more than 4 months, and the talks are quite unproductive so far. So still a lot of focus on the tariff issues and how the monetary policy is going to evolve as more and more Fed members are supportive of a rate cut. Rupee will remain on the weaker side, but I think 88 is still safer. The RBA probably holding the upside because they also are waiting to see how the things are going to develop in the coming days. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. And just quickly summarizing, when it comes to the MPC decision, Rupee did not see much of a reaction after the MPC decision, and it did not see a reaction after the additional 25% tariff was imposed in the offshore trade, at least. When it comes to other tariff developments, Japan has seen another 15% tariff imposed. And one important thing to remember is that India's 25% additional tariff will be applicable from August 27th. And the US trade team is coming to India on August 25th, and market is somewhat expecting that there will be some sort of talks and maybe even some negotiations or some benefit that we might get from reduced tariff if the negotiation is successful in the first place. More Fed members have been speaking quite dovish. Another member, Mr. Kashkari, has been favoring near-term easing. So the recent theme we are seeing is a lot of Fed members advocating for the easing in the next meeting. September rate cut probability being priced by the market is at more than 90%. And since yesterday, we have seen dollar weaken, euro and gold has seen some good rally. Today, the event to watch out for would be the Bank of England rate decision. There is expectation of a 25 basis point rate cut. That's it from us today. Thanks for listening. We'll catch up tomorrow with a fresh round of updates.